I never told this story publicly before, mostly because I don't want people to think I have lost it. But it's been eating at me for years now, and I need to get it off my chest. So here it is. Take it however you want. This happened to me in the fall of 2019. I was 27 at the time, living in northern Michigan, working as a surveyor for a land development firm. My job took me out into the woods a lot, deep into areas where there were no trails, no people, no cell service, and I loved it for the most part. Always liked being alone in the woods, even as a kid. That October, my boss sent me to a site near Greeley. It was a large tract of forested land some private company had bought to build a vacation cabins. I was supposed to mark the boundaries and take soil samples. Nothing unusual. I got there mid-morning, parked my truck on a gravel logging road, and started hiking with my gear. I had a GPS unit, a machete, a spray paint, and my pack with food, water, and radio, and my sidearm, a .357 revolver. I always carried in remote areas, mostly for the bears. The forest was quiet. I remember thinking how beautiful it was. Gold and orange leaves, soft moist underfoot, that cold snap in the air that tell you winter is coming. I was maybe 2 miles in when I started getting this weird feeling. Hard to describe, like I was being watched, but more than that, like the woods were holding their breath. I brushed it off as paranoia. Happens sometimes when you are out alone. So I kept working, marked a few points, took some notes. Around noon, I sat on a log to eat lunch. That's when I noticed something odd. The forest had gone dead quiet. No birds, no wind, not even squirrels, just nothing. I was scanning the tree lines. Then I heard a snap. I whipped around. Behind me, maybe 50 yards away, something had stepped on a branch. I scanned the trees again. Nothing. Could have been a deer, maybe a black bear even. I stood up, slowly, hand resting on the grip of my revolver. "Hello?" I called out. "Anyone there?" No answer, no movements, just stillness of the forest. I stood there for a while, heart thudding in my chest, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Eventually, I turned back, packed up, and kept going, but the feeling didn't go away. About 30 minutes later, I came across something strange. A tree, that's a big one, maybe 16 feet tall, was snapped clean in half, like someone had twisted. The break was about 10 feet up. Now I have seen storm damage and rot, but this looked different. It looked deliberate. There were deep claw marks in the bark, 4 of them running down the trunk, each about an inch wide, at least a foot long. I crouched and touched them. They looked fresh. That's when I heard the breathing. A low, raspy, closer to me. I turned around and I swear to God, about 30 feet away, partially hidden behind some pines, was this thing. I thought it was a bear at first, big, with dark fur, hunched over. But then it stood up, not on all fours, on two legs. It was tall, had to be at least 7 feet, maybe even more. Muscular, with broad shoulders and long arms that ended in claws. Its head was wolf-like, long snout, pointed ears, yellow eyes that looked straight through me. And those eyes, they weren't animal eyes. They had awareness in them, intelligence, hate. I didn't move. I couldn't. I was frozen in place. My brain just shut down. The thing tilted its head, sniffed the air, and let out this deep, guttural growl that I felt in my bones. That snapped me out of it. I drew my gun, aimed, and fired few shots. The shots echoed through the woods. That thing didn't even flinch. It just ducked behind those trees and vanished. I stood there, shaking, the gun still raised, waiting for it to come back. It didn't. But I didn't wait around either. I grabbed my gear and ran. I don't even remember half the run back to the truck. I just knew I didn't stop until I locked myself inside and peeled out the tire spinning in the gravel. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my apartment, lights on, gun on the table, jumping at every sound I heard. I kept telling myself I must have hallucinated or something. Maybe the stress, the isolation, or something weird in the air. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't convince myself that it wasn't real. The thing was there, and I saw it. And also, it saw me. The next morning, I called in sick. I couldn't go back, not yet. But I knew I had to go eventually. My job depended on it, and my gear was still out there. I told myself I'd go back during the day, just quick enough to grab my stuff. No surveying, no exploring, in and out. I finally forced myself to drive back. I bought a friend. I didn't tell him everything, just that I had a close call with some wildlife, needed help retrieving my equipment. My friend is the kind of guy who doesn't spook easy. He was former military, level-headed, the kind of guy you want watching your back in the woods. We got there around noon. Sun was high, sky was clear, and the birds was chirping. None of that dead silence I had heard before. For a moment, I actually felt stupid. Maybe it was just a beer. Maybe I had overreacted back then. We hiked cautiously, weapons ready, but nothing felt out of place. My gear was still where I left it, scattered around the log where I had eaten lunch. Nothing disturbed, no tracks, no blood, no claw-marked trees, nothing. I almost started laughing. Maybe I had imagined the whole damn thing. We were packing up when my friend pointed something out. About 15 feet from my gear, just barely noticeable in the fallen trees, was a print. A footprint, but not a human one. It was long, wide, with 5 toes like marks, but way too big for any person. Maybe 16 inches long and deep. Whatever made it had some weight to it. My friend crouched and inspected it. "That ain't a bear," he said, "or a wolf. Hell, it almost looked like a person's foot, but something wrong." He looked up to me. "This what you saw?" I nodded. He didn't laugh. He didn't call me crazy either. He just stood up and said, "Let's get the hell out of here." And we did. We didn't talk much on the way back. Once we reached the truck, my friend lit a cigarette, hand shaking a bit. That told me everything I need to know. If it had rattled him, it wasn't just in my imagination. That night, he called me, said he had done some digging. "You ever heard of the Michigan Dogman?" he asked. "I never heard that before." He explained, said it was a local legend, sightings going back to the 1800s, described as a tall, canine-looking creature that walked on 2 legs, glowing yellow eyes, terrifying howl. Seen mostly in the northern woods, place like Raleigh, exactly where we had been. I didn't sleep much after that call either. In the days that followed, I started hearing more stories once I knew what to look for. Reddit threads, old newspaper articles, local forums, people describing the same thing, a huge upright dog-like creature seen near rural roads or deep in the forest. Most were brushed off as hoaxes or hallucinations, but some had that ring of the truth. That look in the eye of someone who had seen something they wished they didn't. I started to wonder how many others had seen it, but stay quiet, like me, like my friend. A week later, I quit my job, not because of fear exactly, but because I couldn't keep going out there, not after that. I couldn't look at the woods the same way. They used to feel like home, peaceful, alive. Now they felt haunted. I moved south, closer to the city, took up work that kept me indoors. Concrete, street lights, people around. I miss the woods sometimes, but not enough to go back. Sometimes I still dream about the thing, standing there, watching me. That look in its eyes. Not just an animal instinct, but recognition. Like it knew me. It wanted me to come back. At some nights, when the wind howls, just right I swear I can hear it. Far off, but close enough to know it's still out there, waiting for me. Far off, but close enough to know it's still out there, waiting for me. Hope you guys like this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to this channel. Enable the bell icon so you don't miss new uploads. And also, Check out other videos in this channel too. Like them and share them. And if you have any suggestions or any improvements I need to make in this channel, please post them in the comment section. Till next time, this is Malayali Wendigo. Bye.